Okay, so I'm picking up where I left off in the last video. My most significant relationship, I call her my ex-wife. We were never legally married, but we were technically engaged. Our falling out took almost 2 years to officially separate. Me being her first love and her being my first deep, full-hearted, all walls gone love. It was very hard for us to let each other go. There was a lot of fear with releasing each other. I feared losing her and she feared hurting me. So we just continually hurt each other for a lot longer than necessary. Yeah, that's one thing I will say is learning to let go when it's time is important, because you just cause yourself so much more suffering in both parties. So I don't know how much detail I guess I want to give from this relationship, but intimacy was our struggle. I definitely wanted more intimacy. My soul was ready to just meld with hers, and she didn't even understand necessarily what I wanted. She's like, I love you. What do you want? So it's heartbreaking. There was a what's the word? Where she broke my heart through breaking trust. Okay, I tried so hard to forgive her for that. I did. But I feel like once trust is broken, you're really just, it's like you're on crutches. You're hobbling on one leg. You can't run the race. It's not that it is a race, but you can't perform when you're wounded. So, yeah. But in the process of letting go, I knew that I was slowing my soul growth down. Like, I was on this very rapid spiritual growth mission after about a year of us being together. So we were together about 5 years, give or take. And I knew that if I kept basically up-leveling consciously, that I would lose her. And I was actually willing to put my growth on a back burner so that I could drag her along with me. So definitely was a huge internal crisis on top of all the external actual things happening in our relationship. And when we finally separated, it took the universe like backhanding me a few times to figure out that I needed to just let it go. But I had all this love that I didn't know what to do with. Like, I had access the depth that I had never reached before. So it was like, what to do with this now? I can't give it to you. It's too heavy for you. What the fuck? And so recently I put words to it that I had to like hollow myself out. I had to like pull this void. I had to pull everything out of it and like put a plug, an emotional stopper, so that I could even function, because I was so incredibly depressed. I didn't want to get out of bed. 6 months of my life was basically just laying in bed in the darkness, not wanting to be social, wanting love so bad, but knowing my worth, that I couldn't just give it to anybody, knowing that I'd just been hurt so bad. So I'm so glad I didn't get in a relationship right off the jump, because that was my old self before the spiritual awakening. Was, all right, 4 months down, let's go, and on to the next. So it took a lot of soul growth to even get myself out of my bed. And I do credit my friends, Sean, Christina, and Christine. Specifically Christine, because she was there to hear a lot of it and to definitely cradle me in my darkest times. And the three of them coaxed me out of this little hidey hole that I was in. So I will say, when it comes to, this is a trigger warning for suicidal thoughts. I have never truly been suicidal. I want to make that very clear. I will say though that I think what some people may confuse with it, which is what I have experienced, was I wanted to no longer exist. Okay? I didn't want to kill myself. I didn't necessarily not want to live. I just wanted to go into the void and have nothing. No stimulus, no sound, no light, no movement, just nothing for a long period of time. I just wanted nothing. So that's where I was. Just literally wanting to escape life. Because, you know, to be human, you have to keep going. You have to work. You have to do the things. You have to pay bills. Be responsible. Anyways, after putting that emotional stopper in, basically numbing myself without being completely numb. I didn't let things touch my soul. I could feel them, but it was like at a distance. Like I would be able to hold the emotion outside of me and not take it in. And I started with my like, fuck it, I'm single, you know, I'm in my peak. I felt my self-esteem was waning a little bit because I had this high self-esteem, but just, I felt so like, just so powerful. And then when she left, I felt so weak. So I had to like do this really gross, like ridiculously cocky version of like boosting myself up, which my friends would like look at each other, look at me like, wow. But I did so as to boost myself up. No one else is going to do it for me, right? So exploring myself, exploring my friends. That's funny. It's funny if you know me because, well, that's when I was at the point of time where I'm like, you know what, I've never slept with a man. And I'm curious, and I kind of want to go about that and see what it is, you know. I'm someone who is pro-sex, pro-pleasure. I don't like the taboo restrictions and the awkwardness when people bring up sex. I want it to be, everyone fucking does it, okay? So, well, Mr. Sean was very present. He stayed at his friend's, which is 6 minutes away from my house at the time. And he was just so sturdy. I guess that's a good word. I knew I could trust him. I knew I could lean on him. And I knew he'd be there for me, even if I kept him at a distance. And, well, I got pregnant the first time I had sex. I know I've already talked about this, and most of you already know about that, but first time I had sex with a man, I got pregnant. It only takes once, guys. So, coming from literally just like plugging up my emotions and not wanting to feel anything, and now I'm pregnant. I don't know how to feel. I'm not particularly excited about being pregnant. I don't also want to terminate a pregnancy, but I was not in love with the idea like I thought it would be. I was very conflicted because now I felt all of the pressures of the ideas of like, I'm no longer a free spirit. I'm now tethered to this person for my entire life, and I have to grow the fuck up. That was a lot on my plate when I just finally gotten out of bed from depression, you know. So Sean, of course, was just so lovely and accepting and accommodating for everything. And that first trimester with those hormones, you guys, I was not nice to him. I do regret a lot of the things I said and how I acted, and I did it in a way of self-preservation. I did not know who I was anymore. I went from being a gold star lesbian to now I'm pregnant with this guy that we were just friends. I wasn't intending to be romantic with him. So basically trying to be in this balance of, I don't want to be forced to be with you, but I also want to give you a chance. Well, because of my raging bitch phase that first trimester, it took him a lot of time to put his ego down because I had a huge ego initially, and we butt heads so bad. That pregnancy was not easy, all right, on many levels. There was a lot of sadness. There was a lot of disassociation. Like, I almost didn't feel it was real. Like, it took me seeing her wiggle on the ultrasound to be like, oh shit, this is real. It took 6 months for me to be like, oh shit, I'm about to have a fucking baby. Oh shit. And then when she was born, I'm like, holy shit, this is my fucking baby. Holy shit. But it seemed like a month before we had her, we both kind of shook off old shit, and we really put down our egos and our pride, and was like, you know what? Let's give this an honest chance, because we won't know unless we really try. And so it's been a little less than 2 years now since then, because she's about 1.5 years. And honestly, you guys, just within the past, I want to say 4 months, has it really gotten, honestly, really good, to where I can say I'm happy. And I can say that I am falling in love with this man. He has earned my love. He has shown up, and he has tried his best to hear me and what I need from him, and what he can do within his power to meet me where I need him to be, to communicate, you know, to lower his voice, to put his ego down. And it's not to say I haven't done some fucking passive aggressive bullshit that he's called me on. That's what's beautiful, is that we can both call each other on it in not an attacking way of just like, hey, look, this is what you're doing, this is making me feel this way, can we go forward with fixing, you know, that dynamic? And I'm being presented with this feeling, even just this past weekend, where I'm getting scared. I'm wanting to backpedal. I'm feeling anxious, because you know what? I haven't let someone in since I let her in so deeply and then didn't have it returned to me. So I'm kind of fucking scared. But like, it's one of those scares that I have to release. It's one of those wounds that if you never let it heal, you can't really move on. And so I'm not going to be this bitter person who's like, I just can't love anybody because I was hurt. We're all going to be hurt. And it's your choice to open yourself up and to allow beautiful things in. And if they don't work, that's okay, because you know what? It was something beautiful for a while. And I'm just really, honestly, at this point, I am so proud of both of us, because honestly, old me was like, nah, fuck this. I don't want to do this. And new me is like, I'm so fucking thankful we put in the work, because it has gotten to be one of the most healthy, secure, safe relationships I've had probably ever. So I guess what I'm learning right now is it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be scared that they can't meet you there. Doesn't mean that you have to close up shop and give up. It means just, you know, be yourself, and you guys can meet in the middle when the time is right. And it's a forever unfolding process. So I'm gonna end this here. Just kind of wanted to give you guys some intimacy for me, so you can see into me. All right, get to know me a little bit better. And that's it. So